Why do so many of us guys hit 60 and suddenly feel like our bodies are just completely falling apart? Welcome to The Explainer. I'm your host, and today, look, I'm getting a little personal because I'm sharing my own story. A few years back, I crossed that big 6-0 milestone, and man, I'm telling you, it was like a switch flipped overnight. Suddenly, my energy was totally zapped, my joints were barking, and I started noticing this deep, nagging fear in the back of my mind every single time I had to navigate a slippery sidewalk or pick up something heavy. But then I discovered something incredible. A completely joint-friendly, safe, zero-weights protocol that entirely reversed the clock for me. It's what I call the midsection muscle secret. Now, I'm actually going to keep the exact step-by-step solution under wraps until the very end of this explainer, but stick with me here, because I'm going to show you exactly how to rebuild your engine from the inside out.
So why do our bodies suddenly change on us? If you're a guy in your 60s, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You go to step off a curb or you stand up a little too fast, and suddenly you wobble. And that wobble, it triggers a genuine fear. It's the fear of losing our independence, the fear of taking a really bad fall, and frankly, the fear of looking and feeling frail. Nobody wants to be that guy stuck in the recliner watching life pass by. But here is the hope. You absolutely don't have to be. What if I told you that you could build a capable, strong, and even aesthetic physique that lets you easily get right down on the floor to play with your grandkids and pop right back up without a groan? It is entirely possible, brother.
And that brings us to our ultimate goal today, the midsection muscle secret. We're talking about a totally safe, no-weights, joint-friendly protocol that literally acts as the ultimate fountain of youth for guys like us. It doesn't require some fancy gym membership or pounding your knees into dust on a treadmill. I am going to reveal the exact 4-step routine at the end of this explainer. But before we get to the how, we really need to understand the why, because knowing your enemy is always the first step to beating it.
You know, the quote you're seeing right now? That was literally me talking to my doc a few years ago. I was just so sick and tired of nursing a bum back and feeling winded after doing the simplest yard work. I literally said, I just want to stay upright and play with my grandkids, not nurse back pain. When you hit your 60s, your priorities shift, right? It's no longer about bench pressing a pickup truck. It's about functional, everyday freedom. The threat of aging is real, guys. It sneaks up on you, steals your vitality, and leaves you wondering where all your strength went.
All right, let's get into section 1, the silent muscle thief. Welcome to the dark side of aging.
Now, I gotta get just a little bit clinical for a second because we have to face the real physiological threat here. The enemy, it's called sarcopenia. Basically, this is the silent thief. It's the natural, progressive loss of your skeletal muscle mass, your strength, and those super important fast-twitch muscle fibers as you get older. It's the exact reason why everyday tasks, like getting out of a low chair, carrying the groceries, or climbing a flight of stairs, suddenly become a total grind. It literally robs us of our physical reserve. To really put this into perspective, let's look at the timeline. And honestly, the cold, hard data here might surprise you. Get this, the natural deterioration of your core muscles actually kicks off in your mid-30s. Crazy, right? Then by the time you hit age 40, your balance starts this slow, gradual decline. And then we hit the danger zone, age 60 and beyond. This is where severe muscle wasting limits our mobility and skyrockets our risk of falling. And a fall at our age, it isn't just a bruised ego, it's a loss of independence. But hey, this timeline is just what happens if we do nothing. And we definitely aren't going to do nothing.
Which brings us to section 2, unlocking your true core engine. And guys, forget the 20-year-old six-pack. Look, we're not chasing vanity muscles anymore. We need functional strength to keep our spine safe and our hips stable when we, say, twist to grab something out of the backseat of the car. So the absolute key here is understanding this one specific muscle, the transversus abdominis. Think of this as your engine room. It's the deepest letter of abdominal muscle you've got. It wraps entirely around your spine and your midsection, basically acting like your body's own built-in anatomical weightlifting belt. Science shows us that this specific muscle is supposed to fire and contract before you even move a limb. If this engine room is weak, the rest of your body compensates. And man, that is exactly where lower back pain and joint injuries come from. So as you can see here, blowing out 60, 65, or even 70 candles on a birthday cake absolutely doesn't mean you automatically have to just accept another ache or pain. The birthdays are going to keep coming, for sure. That's just a fact of life. But when you unlock that transversus abdominis, that deep engine room we just talked about, you completely change how your body handles those passing years. And hey, the clinical data completely backs this up. Strengthening your trunk stability is a literal game changer. It actively prevents falls, bruising, and injuries. It essentially bulletproofs your spine and hips.
Actually, in clinical settings, doctors use something called the TUG test, the timed up and go, to measure mobility in older adults, and core strength drastically improves that speed. Plus, get this, a major mega-analysis in sports medicine showed core training boosts functional performance and balance by a whopping 23% in seniors. I mean, that is huge for getting your quality of life back.
All right, section 3, the golden protein rule. Because let's be real, you can't run a rebuild engine on fumes.
Now here is where so many of us guys mess up. You could do all the functional core exercises in the world, but it won't do a darn thing if you aren't feeding the machine correctly. As older guys, our bodies process nutrients way differently than they did when we were 20. Let's bust a massive myth right here, right now. For years, the old dietary guidelines told us we only needed 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. But recent studies on seniors show that this outdated advice actually causes physiological adaptation, meaning your body starts breaking down your own skeletal muscle just to survive. Yikes. The actual functional aging reality? The data shows we actually need between 1.0 and 1.3 grams per kilogram every single day just to hold on to our lean mass and physical function.
So, do me a favor and burn this exact number right into your brain. 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. That right there is the absolute sweet spot. If you seriously want to stop sarcopenia dead in its tracks and actually build up that core engine, you've got to hit this daily protein target. When you combine this golden protein roll with the routine I'm about to show you, the results are just explosive.
And check this out, the clinical data is undeniable. A recent meta-analysis of older adults showed that when seniors combined resistance exercise with optimal protein supplementation, they didn't just maintain their muscle, they actually gained 38% more fat-free mass compared to the guys who just exercised without the extra protein. 38%! You gotta feed the engine, guys. It works.
Moving on to section 4, the lifelong strength routine. Time to reveal the midsection muscle secret. All right, the moment you've been waiting for. This is the exact minimalist, do-it-at-home routine I used to get my life back. It's kind of this cool mix inspired by physical therapy, Pilates, and even some Sheldon techniques. It's zero impact, completely joint-friendly, and you can literally do it right on your living room rug. Okay, let's break it down. Step 1 is the dying cockroach. Funny name, I know. Lie on your back, push your lower back completely flat into the floor, bring your hands straight up and your knees bent at 90 degrees. Just hold that, and you'll feel that deep core fire up right away. Step 2 is seated knee lifts. Grab a sturdy chair, sit up nice and straight, and slowly pull one knee up to your chest using just those lower abs. Step 3, the bridge. Back on the floor, feet flat, and push your hips up toward the ceiling, really squeezing the glutes and stabilizing the lower back. And finally, step 4, the plank. You can do this on the floor or modify it by leaning against a wall or counter, whatever works for you. Just keep the spine perfectly straight and contract those obliques. Master these 4 safe moves, and you are literally building an unbreakable anatomical girdle. The whole philosophy behind this is super simple. Consistency over intensity. You absolutely do not need to go crush yourself in some crowded gym for 2 hours a day. You don't need heavy iron that's going to wreck your shoulders and knees. Just running through this simple routine 2 to 3 times a week is your absolute blueprint for lifelong independence. It takes a few minutes tops, but man, those few minutes compound over time into a completely transformed, capable physique. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I gotta leave you with one big, powerful question. Are you ready to rebuild your engine? You've got the science, you've got the golden protein rule, and now you have the exact midsection muscle secret routine. The rest of the whole shebang is totally up to you. Don't let that silent thief steal your best years, guys. Take action today, get down on that rug, and start building the strength that's gonna let you truly enjoy the decades ahead. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer. Now get out there and get to work.